Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you've ever wanted to make a pencil skirt that snatches your waist, enhances your curves and gives you that sculpted BBL inspired silhouette, then you're at the right place. Now grab your pattern paper and let's create something amazing. Before we dive in, make sure you hit the subscription button, give this video a like and share. Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Oluchi and today I'll be teaching us how to draft an advanced pencil skirt. And the measurements required are just your waist measurement, hip measurement, your knee circumference, your back hip circumference, skirt length, and waist to knee measurements. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is divide this line, but I'm not going to be dividing the line because this client's hip measurement is actually big, so I don't think it's gonna contain my paper. So what I'll do, I'll draft the front and then we'll proceed to drafting the back. First, go ahead and square out a line. Okay, square out just a line. Maybe come down with like 1 inch, but just make sure you have a little bit of space here. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is to impute the vertical measurements before we proceed to the horizontal measurements. The vertical measurement, I mean, is the hip depth. So for this client, her hip depth is 9 inches. No, like 8.5 inches, sorry. 8.5 inches. And knee length measurement from the waist is 21. And the skirt length is 43. So from 21, I'll mark 43. Okay, so I'm going to square out the lines and I'll show us. So now I have all my lines squared out. This will be the waist line, this will be the hip line, this will be our knee length line, and then we have the hemline. Okay, so we proceed to start imputing our measurements. Now the waist measurement is constant. The waist is 31, so 31 divided by 4, okay, 7¾ so yeah, the waist measurements will be 31 divided by 4 will give us 7¾ so 7¾ plus 1 inch, that allowance will give us 8¾ so now the major part is around the hip. The hip, her whole hip circumference is 47 inches, right? But the back hip circumference is 25. Now the reason why it's like this is because the back hip is usually bigger than the front, so you can't use the same measurement for both. So you go ahead and take the hip circumference. I'm sure this is an advanced class, so you should know how to take your hip circumference. If you don't know, you can ask ChatGPT. So the hip circumference for my clients, the back hip circumference is 25, so I'll be minusing 25 from 47. Whatever I have left is what I'm going to be using for the front. Okay, so this is 25. 47 minus 25, this will give us 22. So my front hip is going to be 22 while the back hip is going to be 25. So this is the front hip, so 22 divided by 2 will give us 11. Okay, so we have 11 on my hip. And go ahead to take your client's knee length circumference. For these clients, I'll be working with 2 inches, so that's 2 inches. I'll be deducting 2 inches from my hip measurement. Okay, so that will give me what? 9 inches. So please proceed to take in your your knee circumference. I know why I'm saying that. Okay, so whatever I have here is what I'm going to square down all the way to my hemline, same 9 inches. Now go ahead to come down from here with 1.5. Now the reason you're doing this so that you're not having sharp pointed edges on the hip area. Okay, so the same 9 inches you have here is what you're going to mark. Sorry, 11 inches is what we're going to mark here. Just mark it like this. Now we're going to be connecting from the waist to the hip, and from this hip measurement to the knee line. Do you understand? Then we'll blend it because what? We don't want to have sharp curves. We don't want to have sharp curves. Okay, so this should go like this, and then we have this, and square all the way to the hemline. Okay, the next thing you want to do is just to blend here out like so. Yep, so on the waistline towards the side seam, come up with 1/2 inch, please. Come up 1/2 inch, square up, And then for the center front, you come down with a quarter. Please don't do more than a quarter, especially if it's going to have a waistband. Okay, so just mark a quarter inch, and then add your bust span measurements. That's your dart placements, whichever one you feel comfortable. My client's is 4.2, so I'm gonna mark half here and half here and square down with 7 inches. Okay, so 4.2, right? All right, let me use this. Yeah, normally I draft with pencil. Make sure you're drafting your pattern with pencil, that way you don't have to. So, and this is all about the front. The next thing you want to do is connect this to this. The reason you're doing this is because of this curve here, right? This curve here kind of like shortens the skirts in a way when you're joining to the back. I don't know. Yeah, so you just add ½ inch up and then connect a slight curve from that 1 inch up to the quarter that you came down with. Okay, yep. And personally, I close my darts. I don't like to sew darts. I don't know for others, but I just close my darts. So what I'm going to do before I trim this out, I'll close my darts, blend this line and trim, and that is all about the front pattern, and then we'll proceed to drafting the back pattern. So guys, let's proceed to drafting the back. I'm trying to see if I can still use the reverse part of my pattern instead of wasting it. Okay, so I went ahead to square another line here a little bit because all I need is ½ inch space off. So the same hip depth measurement I used for the front is what I'm going to use for the back. 8.5. Knee length is 21, and then the skirt length is 43. 8.5. 21. Don't forget this is a high-waisted pants. Okay, so I think I should have used 20 or something. And 43. So this is 43. I'm going to cancel this other line. Okay, so because I'm working with pen, because I want it to be very clear, I can actually clean lines. Okay, so I'll just mark asterisk on them so I know the correct lines, and this is the fake lines. Okay, yep. So I'll square the knee line, I'll square the hemline, I'll square the hip line, and now this is where the journey begins. Okay, so for our waist measurement, we're going to use the same waist measurement, which is I think 8.75. That was what we used for the front. Yes, that's her waist measurement is 31 divided by 4 give us 7. That's 7.7, 7.6. That's 7.25. Then add 1 inch to it. Okay, then the hip is 25. That the hip circumference for the back is 25. So 25 divided by 2 give us what? 12.5. Okay, 12.5. Yes. So when you're working with clients, you have to be very smart. Now, if I connect this to this, it's going to be too sharp, and I don't like my scale like that. That is how I work with my customers. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we'll still do the same thing. Come down 1.5, mark the same 12.5 for the back, and then I'll go ahead to adjust my darts. Now, instead of using 1 inch darts for the back, I'm going to use 1.5 inch. The good thing is I'm definitely going to close this dart so it doesn't affect anything. Okay, so I'm going to be adding ½ inch to this because I don't want this distance. Okay, I don't want like a slanted line. I want a slight curve around the hip. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is mark the knee circumference. So the knee circumference I used in front is 2 inches. Then for the back, I'm going to be marking 1 1/4 on both sides. Okay, I like my pencil skirt to really look beautiful and well, you know, structured. Okay, so we have 12.5 here, right? So I'm marking the same 12.5 on the knee. Then I'm gonna come in with 1 1/4, and then 1 1/4 here too. Yes. Okay, so that's how I pencil my back. So what that means is, if you're using 2 in front, that 2 inches, you're also going to be taking it out from the back. But because her hip is big, right, I don't want the pencil not to have any effect, so that's why I added the extra 1/4 inch. So when you're working with your customers, you have to like be very creative. You have to be a critical thinker. Okay, don't just draft pattern, oh, this is the basic, and you know, you just do it anyhow, and oh my goodness, yeah, it doesn't work that way. Okay, guys. Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is connect this from this point to this point. Okay, from this point to the hip. Okay, and then the same measurement you have, we're going to mark it down. So what you do, you can go ahead and mark your 12.5 first, then come in with your 1.2 on the sides, another 1.2 on the side. Okay, yes, this is one of the best ways to draft your skirts. And very simple. Square the lines to the knee line, square from the hem to the knee line, and you're good to go with the down. Okay, so let's come back here. Now I'm going to be connecting this to my hip, sorry, my waist, from the hip to the waist. Don't forget that the waist for the back is waist plus 1.5. okay, don't also forget to square up with 1/2 inch. Yep, so we connect both lines this way, and then I'm gonna blend this like so. Yes, I don't like sharp edges, so I blend it. So this thing, if you don't take it out, you definitely take it out when you're sewing, so just remove it right away, and then square up with 1/2 inch. Okay, so now for the center back, you have to snatch the center back. So I'll be snatching the center back with 1 inch. Now the reason I removed this, for your skirts, you guys see the picture on my page, right? I know I knew some persons asked me how, you know, I was able to make the skirt to snatch. That is a crepe fabric. Most times your material also matters how it hugs you on your body, and the lining also was a stretchy lining. Okay, so I'll connect this to this point and blend as well. Okay, so if I was making a corset, there's a different drama happening here, but it's just, you know, corset right now. Okay, so I'll connect the 1.5 inches, sorry, the 1/2 inches I went upwards with. I'll connect it back to my CB. So that's my CB line. Okay, so this is my center back, this is my side, and that's also. So I would blend here. I would have loved to use pencil, but the pencil will not be visible. I'll just blend this slightly, and that will be all. So the next thing you want to do is find your dart placement. Now, because this part is already snatched with like 1 inch, what I would do is find the midpoint of this, my waist measurement, my new waist measurement. So this is like 8 1/4, and I will mark 4.2 here, right? And go ahead to take out the same 1.5 inches I added here, which will now be 3/4 on both sides, right? So I'll square this line down. I'll square this like this. Let me find a straight line. Okay, it's 7 inches. Then I'll connect my dart. I'll go ahead and close my dart, and then my skirt pattern is ready. You have to blend in like this. So let's cut this out.